Greetings, everyone. I am James Milan, and this is the Town Hall Update. I am speaking with our town manager, Sandy Pooler, and I am happy to do so as always. Hi, Sandy.
James, nice to see you.
Nice to see you. You will not be surprised to know that there are a number of things for us to talk about today, and that includes topics such as the recent break-in at the U.S. Postal Service mailbox here in town, the MBTA Communities designation, a new administrator for the Select Board, and then also other topics that we will cover a little bit later. But let's start with the town's community equity audit, because it was just recently released, having finalized and then been released. So what are your thoughts on that?
The town did a comprehensive equity audit where we reached out to the public in general and also in particular to groups or people who traditionally have not felt connected to the town to get their perspective on how we can connect to all of our citizens, how we have structures set up in town that provide services that make things accessible to folks. We released this audit at this last Monday night. We had a session at the community center with about a dozen people in the community center, but I think 75 people on Zoom hearing about it. I think it's a very important audit for this town. I would highly encourage people to look at it. There's sort of two versions you can look at. One is a comprehensive, 50-page document outlining a lot of the details of the process and so forth. And then there's a shorter, probably 10-page community version. It has findings about the town and recommendations about what we do to go forward. I would also say some of the things are hard to read, but I don't think there's anything in there that people shouldn't read and shouldn't feel comfortable with grappling with. All these issues of diversity, equity, inclusion are very important for the town. We do some things well here. The town has a long history of dealing with civil rights issues and other issues. But there are some things that we need to do better, and we certainly need to have more communication and more listening going on. So I would very much encourage people to go to the town website, look at the equity audit. The Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Director and I are going to spend time in the next few weeks, next month, coming up with some action plans. This is an ongoing conversation, and this is a good kickoff. So.
Yeah, I just want to clarify one thing quickly, and that is when you say that some of this can be hard to read. Of course, you don't mean literally hard to read. You mean that it is really challenging material and stuff that people will have to grapple with.
I think that's right. When people see that there are members of the community who feel excluded or feel that there's racism going on in town, it's not easy to hear about that, but that's what some people do feel, and so we have to face that head on.
Okay, thank you. Moving on, there was, as I mentioned, a break-in of one of the post boxes here in town, and I believe that everything was stolen from inside. I'm not sure. Can you give us clarification on that and what the story is?
So somebody broke into one of the post office boxes right near the central post office outside. They stole a lot of the mail in there. We do have accounts of people then having things like checks that were in that mail be altered and cashed. And I know a couple of instances where people have had to deal with their banks on that. This is something that's happened here in Arlington, that's happened here in Medford. The police have been involved along with the Medford police. The police are recommending, at least for the short term, instead of dropping your mail in just random outside mailboxes, if you have a chance to bring it to the post office and put it inside, that would be better. We've chased the thief, but have not caught him or her. So at this point, let's just be cautious and prudent. And obviously, if you've had any problems with stolen checks or identity theft, you need to contact your bank, and you should probably also file a report with the Arlington Police Department.
Okay. MBTA community designation for Arlington, one of 175 cities around the Commonwealth so designated, has some implications, and it's something I've been speaking with various people about lately. Can you remind us of what some of the impact is going to be?
Yeah, I think I've talked about this before briefly. The MBTA Communities Act requires communities in and around the MBTA service area to change their zoning to allow for by right multifamily building. We will have to do some what's called overlay zones. In other words, designate certain parts of town for by right multifamily housing. This is going to be a long process involving a lot of communication with the community. We have our first session, March 9th. It's going to be a Zoom session from 7 to 8:30 p.m., where our planning department will start some of these conversations to talk about what MBTA zoning is, to start to get feedback on what parts of town we should designate for multifamily housing, and really talk about what the impacts to the town would be of allowing this. I think one of the things that they're going to talk about is the fact that this will start off a multi-year process. In other words, this isn't going to just create multifamily housing immediately, but it will be part of a process. It's also necessary for us to adopt this so that we can follow through on town meeting's vote last year to ban fossil fuels in new buildings and new developments or renovations in town. So the two are linked. Again, I would encourage people to look 7 to 8:30 on Zoom on March 9th for this kickoff event.
There is going to be a new Select Board Administrator, or there is a new Select Board Administrator, a position held for many years by Marie Pelka, who we have recognized. We recognized her passing recently as well. Can you tell us about this new hire?
So the new Select Board Administrator is Maher. She has worked for the town for 10 years, the last 7 of which she's worked in the Select Board office. Monday night, the Select Board voted to appoint her as Administrator. So congratulations to Ashley. I'm looking forward to working with her, and it's good to have now a new administrator in place. The Select Board office does a lot of work both for the Select Board and for citizens in the town who have questions about any number of policies. So looking very much forward to working with Ashley.
I have used that phone number and accessed that department myself on various occasions. I know what you mean. Okay, just a couple more topics. I know that you've spoken about the town surveys that are out there, communications survey and the town survey, but I think you've got a new something to add, perhaps?
Well, just to say, we have 2 surveys out there. We have a communication survey that closes on February 19th. So we only have a few more days to respond. So far, we've gotten 1,200 residents responding. That has been really great. So if you have questions or feelings about how the town communicates with you or should, please fill out that survey. The town every year sends out a survey on a wide array of topics. That will be due March 1st. Both of these surveys can be found on the town website. Just go and search for either annual survey or communication survey. And we do want to hear from you.
Thank you. And as we get ready to wrap up, I just want to recognize, of course, we are speaking to you in mid-February, and February is Black History Month. And of course, we are recognizing that in a number of ways around town. But I know that you have something to share with us about that as well.
Well, yes. So you may have noticed the banners that are in town center. We've also put up banners in the Heights that were designed by a couple of students here in town and are celebrating Black businesses through history. There's been a long history of business leaders in various businesses that have been African Americans. Many of us don't know a lot of that history, and so this is a great chance to share. On March 4th from 1 to 3 at the Community Center, there'll be an opportunity to hear from the artists who created these banners that are in the Heights, and just learn more about the history of Black businesses in Arlington and throughout the country. And I would encourage people to attend that. I think it's a fun part and an interesting part of Black History Month, and it's a chance to learn something. So please attend.
All right. Well, a quick tally just in my head. I mean, I think you've covered 6 or 7 subjects already today, so there may not be anything else that we've missed, but let me ask you.
No, I think that's it. Again, happy Black History Month, everybody, and thanks for the chance to talk to you, James.
Thank you. He is Sandy Pooler. He is our town manager, and he has been speaking to us for this town hall update. I am James Milan. We do appreciate Sandy's time, and we appreciate yours. We will see you next time.